I just got back from Luton 1, QPR 2, and these are my immediate post-match thoughts. It's not good. It's really not good to have played 4 games in the league, scored 2 goals, one of which was a tap-in the first game, the second of which was tonight, an own goal. Something is not right. It's just not right. Let's have a look at this game, shall we? I'll start with the positive, shall I? Yeah, go on. Let's start with the positive. So the first half was good. It was good. We played some good football, and obviously we got the goal. It was a very well-crafted goal. Baptiste again in the half space after a corner dropped out to him. The initial corner, McGuinness went to the back post, and then some clever movement from McGuinness. He moved round as the ball came in, so he anticipated the cross from Baptiste, and Baptiste in the half space, as we saw against Burnley and Celta Vigo in pre-season, very predictable. He cut it in, and McGuinness had a great header that was parried out by the keeper. From where I was sitting in the main stand, looked like Elijah Adebayo turned it in. Turned out to be Jimmy Dunn. So Jimmy Dunn had that incident with Cameron Jerome 2 years back when Luton won 3-1 at Kenilworth Road, and we go quite a way back with Jimmy Dunn. He's laughed at the fans before, and Jimmy Dunn had the last laugh tonight, quite rightly so, because Luton Town were absolutely shambolic. Obviously there were negatives from the first half as well. Look, Karamoko Dembele, he could have had a goal if he had his shooting boots on in the 7th minute really early on, just whistled wide of the post, and I was thinking, ooh, we got away with one there. And there were some good performances. I thought Ruel Walters was very good, was very quick with his feet. His running was fantastic. He's made that right wing back position his own. Fortunately, he wasn't at fault for any of the goals. I thought Alfie Doughty had a good first half, faded in the second half. Are there any other positives? I don't think so. Not really. As soon as QPR scored their goal, the momentum completely shifted. And now their first goal was completely against the run of play. For the first 10 minutes or so of the second half, Luton looked like they could have got a second goal. However, right now, our strikers look completely bereft of confidence. I will say this before I talk about QPR. If you have a philosophy and it just isn't working, Rob Edwards, he has a philosophy. If you have a philosophy that isn't working, it's time to embrace the fundamentals. You have to be hard to beat. You have to defend well. And that is something that we're just not doing. The QPR goal, it was too easy. It was Sunday League stuff, bread and butter of football. A ball comes over the top. McGuinness, he's battling with Frey. Frey's a big lad. He gets beaten too easily. And now you've got to win your battles. That is just a fundamental of football. Win your battles in defence. Frey beats him off and squares the ball. Madsen puts it in. Okay, so you regroup at that point, you defend, you try not to concede a goal, but what do? 3 minutes later, we concede another goal. Now, this was a really well-worked goal. Kenneth Powell works it to Michael Frey, and it's a fantastic hit from Frey. It really was. And then QPR showed us how you defend a lead. Well done, QPR. I hope that we learn from that, but we won't, because it's the same problems every game. It's the same problems that we've seen in pre-season. It's the same problems that we've seen in the previous 3 games. We're too easy to cut open, and there's just no defensive solidity. There's this philosophy, this idea that we have to play beautiful football, players switching positions, going man to man. We shouldn't be doing that. We should be having a style of play and imposing it on the other team. Make the other team adapt to us. Be forceful. Force the issue. It was absolutely shocking this evening and embarrassing. At the final whistle, I said it in the match preview that I thought a negative result would lead to a hostile atmosphere. I expected a hostile atmosphere when we lost. I expected it. However, I didn't expect people to be clapping. This was the literal definition of happy clapping. People are well within their rights to boo. I didn't boo. I won't boo at a football game. I think the last time I booed, I can't even think of the last time I booed at a football game. People are well within their rights to boo. If they see what they've seen us pick 1 point up against newly promoted Pompey, and to be fair, that was probably the best defensive performance we've seen. But the reality is, we've won 2 games in 2024. The first game that we won was that Brighton game, the 4-0. And as I've described before, that was the sliding doors moment. That was when Rob Edwards made the shift from essentially the last bits of what Nathan Jones had instilled at this club. Being tough, gritty, hard to beat, organised. It's all gone. It had all gone by that point because Rob Edwards thought he hit the jackpot with that result. 4-0 against Brighton. Bear in mind, Brighton probably had just as bad a defence as we did last season. I mean, other than the second half of the season when we were just hemorrhaging goals. 3, 4s, 5s, a 6. It's not right. Rob Edwards needs to see that. Something needs to change. And I was discussing with the people that I was sitting with at the stadium, what is the reality that Rob Edwards could go? Essentially, Rob Edwards has just signed a 4-year contract and he's going to be on good money. Upper championship money, I reckon. The club thought they had a great manager in Rob Edwards. There's a manager in there, but I think he needs to learn some things. He needs to learn when to be pragmatic and he needs to learn when he can unleash his philosophy. He needs to be tactically flexible because today, when that second goal went in, he should have been looking to the bench straight away. Like, who's here? Who can affect this game? And he brought on Joe Taylor in the 74th minute. And we changed it up a bit. Joe Taylor out on the left wing, though. You want Joe Taylor in the middle on the shoulder of the last man. I just don't get it. And it has been a very frustrating evening. A bright spot of my evening, at half-time, bumped into a fella called Luigi while I was getting my half-time drink. Top lads, told me he won come dine with me. That was a bright spot of the evening. He said he likes the work that we do over here at the OK Football Show. So shout out to you, Luigi. Thank you very much for brightening up my evening. But for now, questions have to be asked. The people that booed, they're well within their rights to boo. The people who clapped, they have to think, why did I clap? Because Rob Edwards looked embarrassed. When he was walking around the pitch, he looked absolutely embarrassed to be getting clapped. Going back to what I was talking about when I was speaking to people around me at Kenilworth Road, we were discussing, is he too expensive to sack? And people seem to think there might be performance-related clauses in his contract. And I, for one, I hope so, because he has to realise his job isn't safe just because he got some nice words from Guardiola, Klopp, Arteta last season. Hopefully this isn't a case of Rob Edwards buying into his own hype, because no one is above the result of their performances. And right now, the performances on the pitch are simply not good enough. We go into international break in the bottom 3. If Cardiff get a result tomorrow or today when you're watching this, we're bottom going into the international break. What a fall from grace. It is shocking. I did say 5th in my pre-season prediction for Luton, and I did say that would be wildly optimistic. I realistically thought Luton Town would be mid-table. But right now, mid-table is a big stretch. Big changes have to happen. Rob Edwards needs to take a big, hard look at himself and a big, hard look at his philosophy, his tactics, and he has to return to the fundamentals as soon as possible. We have to go back to being tough to score against. We can't be so fragile. When we concede a goal, we can't just collapse in on ourselves. It's absolutely shambolic. Now, we all have to just sit on this for over a week because there is no football to bounce back from. So all the players need to look at themselves. All the players need to try and figure out what is happening, because there is work to do as soon as football resumes. But hopefully more positive stuff coming up on the OK Football Show. If you like this video, please smash that like button and subscribe to our channel. It's the fastest growing Luton Town channel on YouTube at the moment. It's just sensational. You really love our content and we love putting it out. Also, a big shout out to our audio partners Black Star Amplification and Carry On for keeping us sounding great. Also, a big thank you to the record shop in Amersham. If you collect vinyl, go check them out. They are the kings of vinyl. And they have a strong back line, unlike Luton Town. Well, international break, I guess. So let's see what international break has in store for Luton Town. Come on, you Hatters. Do something.